Have you ever noticed how the first moments of your morning often shape the entire direction of your day? Before the phone begins to ring, before the messages start arriving, before the responsibilities of life demand your attention, there is a sacred window of time where something powerful can happen. That moment is not ordinary. It is a spiritual opportunity. It is a moment where you can rise not just as a person beginning a routine, but as someone stepping into authority. Many people wake up and allow circumstances to decide their mood, their confidence, and their expectations. They scroll through their phones, check the news, remember yesterday's problems, and unconsciously surrender to the atmosphere of their day, to whatever comes first. But there is a different way to begin the day. There is a way to rise with intention, with clarity, and with spiritual authority. Think about this carefully. What if the morning was not simply the start of a schedule, but the moment where direction is established for everything that follows? What if the first words spoken in prayer could influence the tone of your thoughts, your decisions, your opportunities, and even the outcomes of situations you will face later in the day? When a believer begins the morning with prayer, something deeper than routine is happening. It is an act of positioning. It is a declaration that the day will not be driven by anxiety, fear, or randomness. Instead, the day is placed under the influence of faith, purpose, and divine guidance. Many people underestimate the power of intention at the start of a day. They assume life simply unfolds as it will, as though circumstances have the final say. Yet the discipline of morning prayer teaches something different. It reminds us that every new day carries fresh possibilities, and that our posture at the beginning matters. When someone rises early and takes a moment to pray, they are doing more than speaking words. They are aligning their mind, their focus, and their expectations with something higher than their worries. Pause for a moment and imagine the difference between two people starting the same day. One wakes up already overwhelmed by unfinished tasks, uncertain conversations, and the lingering stress of yesterday. The other wakes up and spends intentional time in prayer, speaking peace over their mind, clarity over their plans, and strength over every challenge ahead. Both individuals will face the same hours in the day, yet their inner posture is entirely different. One moves through the day reacting to events, while the other moves through the day with a sense of direction and confidence. The difference is not the circumstances they face, but the authority they chose to exercise at the beginning. There is something remarkable about speaking positive declarations in the quiet hours of the morning. When words are spoken with faith and intention, they begin shaping the internal environment of the mind and heart. Instead of allowing negative thoughts to dominate, prayer becomes a way of filling the mind with purpose and expectation. It creates mental clarity and emotional steadiness. Suddenly, the challenges of the day no longer appear as overwhelming obstacles, but as situations that can be approached with wisdom and calmness. Consider how powerful it is to begin a morning by acknowledging that the day ahead is not random but filled with potential. Every hour carries the possibility of growth, opportunity, connection, and progress. When someone prays in the morning, they are essentially declaring that their steps will be guided and that their decisions will be thoughtful rather than impulsive. They are inviting wisdom into every meeting, every conversation, and every responsibility that awaits them. Morning prayer also acts as a reset for the mind. The pressures of life have a way of building quietly in the background. Unfinished work, personal responsibilities, financial concerns, and countless other details. Without a moment to step back and reflect, those pressures accumulate and begin shaping our emotions. Prayer interrupts that pattern. It creates space to breathe, to refocus, and to remember that challenges do not have the final word over the day. Instead of beginning the day with mental clutter, prayer brings clarity. Another important aspect of taking authority in the morning is the practice of intentional declarations. Words have a powerful influence on how we perceive situations. When someone consistently speaks discouraging words about their day, saying that nothing will work out, that problems are inevitable, or that stress will dominate, those statements quietly shape their expectations. Over time, their mindset becomes conditioned to look for difficulties rather than possibilities. Morning prayer reverses that pattern. It replaces negative assumptions with affirmations of purpose and confidence. Imagine standing at the start of the day and declaring peace over your mind, productivity over your work, and favor over your interactions with others. Such declarations are not simply hopeful phrases. They are reminders to the mind that the day can be approached with courage and expectation. When a person begins with those words, they are training their thoughts to search for opportunities instead of obstacles. Morning authority also involves gratitude. Before any tasks begin, before any challenges appear, there is immense value in acknowledging the gift of another day. Gratitude has a remarkable way of shifting perspective. Instead of focusing solely on responsibilities, it highlights the privilege of having time, ability, and opportunity. Gratitude transforms the atmosphere of the mind. A thankful heart is naturally more open to creativity, patience, and optimism. The quiet discipline of morning prayer also strengthens resilience. Life rarely unfolds exactly as planned. Unexpected delays, misunderstandings, and difficulties appear even on the most carefully organized days. Yet when someone has already taken time to ground themselves in prayer, those moments feel less overwhelming. They approach problems with patience rather than panic. They respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. The authority established in the morning becomes a steady foundation throughout the day. There is also a profound psychological benefit to beginning the day with intentional prayer. It reinforces the idea that we are not simply drifting through life, but actively shaping our mindset and direction. That sense of participation brings confidence. Instead of feeling like victims of circumstance, individuals begin to see themselves as participants in their own progress. Think about the difference between drifting into the day and stepping into the day. Drifting happens without awareness. Hours pass without intention, and energy becomes scattered across countless distractions. Stepping into the day, however, happens with clarity. The mind knows what matters. Priorities are recognized. Energy is directed toward meaningful actions. Morning prayer creates that shift. It brings awareness to the start of the day. It reminds us that time is valuable and that every day carries the potential for growth and positive influence. When someone consistently practices this discipline, they begin to notice a transformation in how they approach life. Decisions become more thoughtful. Reactions become calmer. Confidence grows because the day begins with a sense of alignment and purpose. Even the tone of interactions with others can change because of how the morning begins. A person who starts their day in prayer often carries a sense of calm and attentiveness into conversations. They listen more carefully, respond more thoughtfully, and bring a peaceful presence into their environment. Their inner stability becomes visible in the way they treat others. There is something quietly powerful about the idea that a few intentional moments in the morning can shape the atmosphere of the entire day. Those moments may seem small, yet they carry remarkable influence. They determine whether the mind begins the day with confusion or clarity, with fear or faith, with hesitation or confidence. Every morning presents the same invitation. It invites you to begin the day deliberately rather than passively. It invites you to speak words of purpose instead of surrendering to uncertainty. It invites you to create an internal environment where peace, focus, and expectation can flourish. The world may move quickly once the day begins. Responsibilities will demand attention, and circumstances will unfold in unpredictable ways. Yet the person who has taken authority over their morning carries something valuable into those moments. A centered mind, a focused heart, and a belief that the day holds meaningful possibilities waiting to unfold. Before the day fully unfolds, and before the responsibilities of life begin demanding your attention, there is a moment of stillness that holds incredible power. It is a moment that many people overlook, yet it can shape the direction of everything that follows. In that quiet beginning of the morning, there is an opportunity to speak life, favor, and protection over the day ahead. Imagine stepping into the day with the confidence that you are not walking alone, that every step is guided, and that every moment is surrounded by a sense of purpose and divine care. That is the essence of declaring favor and protection at the start of the morning. Many people begin their day reacting to whatever comes first. Notifications, news, worries about unfinished work, or concerns about conversations they need to have later in the day. Without realizing it, those early thoughts set the emotional tone for the hours ahead. When worry becomes the first voice of the morning, the mind can easily carry that tension into every interaction and decision. But what if the first voice you listened to in the morning was not fear or uncertainty, but faith and assurance. What if the first words spoken over your day were declarations of peace, wisdom, and protection? Speaking favor over your day is more than a habit of positive thinking. It is an intentional decision to frame the day with expectation rather than hesitation. Favor is the belief that opportunities can emerge, that doors can open, and that the right connections can appear at the right moment. When you declare favor in the morning, you are reminding yourself that life is not merely a sequence of obstacles. It is also filled with possibilities waiting to be recognized. Think about how powerful that perspective can be. Two people can walk into the same meeting, approach the same challenge, or begin the same task, yet their expectations can be completely different. One may enter the situation already anticipating difficulty, assuming that things will go wrong. The other enters with a quiet confidence, believing that solutions are possible and that something good may come from the situation. The difference between those two mindsets often shapes the outcome. Favor begins with expectation. There is something remarkable about beginning the day with words that uplift your spirit and focus your mind. When someone declares that their day will be guided, productive, and protected, they are planting seeds of confidence within their thoughts. Those seeds influence how they interpret situations, how they respond to challenges, and how they interact with others. Words have the ability to shape the environment of the mind, and the environment of the mind eventually shapes behavior. Protection is another essential part of morning prayer, and its meaning goes deeper than physical safety. Protection includes emotional stability, mental clarity, and spiritual peace. Life presents countless moments where stress or negativity could easily disrupt our focus. A difficult conversation, an unexpected delay, or even a minor misunderstanding can quickly shift the mood of an entire day. When someone begins their morning by praying for protection, they are asking for strength to remain steady in those moments. Imagine moving through your day with a sense of calm that does not disappear the moment a challenge appears. Instead of reacting with frustration, you pause and respond with clarity. Instead of allowing anxiety to dominate your thoughts, you remember the peace you declared earlier in the morning. That is what protection looks like in everyday life. It is the ability to remain centered even when circumstances are unpredictable. One of the most powerful aspects of declaring favor and protection is the sense of guidance it brings. Every day involves decisions, some small, some significant. From the conversations we engage in to the opportunities we pursue, our choices shape the direction of our lives. Morning prayer becomes a way of inviting wisdom into those decisions before they even appear. It is a moment where we acknowledge that guidance matters, and that clarity is something we can intentionally seek. Consider the impact of approaching your day with the belief that your steps are being directed. That belief creates patience. It encourages thoughtful action rather than rushed decisions. Instead of feeling pressure to control every outcome, you begin to trust the process of the day. Opportunities are approached with openness, and challenges are handled with discernment. Favor also influences the way we see people. When someone expects favor in their day, they begin to view interactions differently. Instead of assuming that others will create obstacles, they become open to the possibility that people may become partners, helpers, or sources of encouragement. This shift in perspective transforms relationships. Conversations become more positive, collaboration becomes easier, and connections feel more meaningful. Morning declarations of favor can also shape productivity. When the mind begins the day with confidence, it approaches tasks with greater focus and determination. Doubt often slows progress because it fills the mind with hesitation. Favor replaces hesitation with expectation. The individual who believes their work will be fruitful is more likely to approach their responsibilities with enthusiasm and persistence. Protection, on the other hand, creates a sense of inner security. In a world where information and demands constantly compete for attention, maintaining peace can be difficult. Yet the practice of morning prayer builds a mental boundary that guards against unnecessary stress. It reminds the mind that not every situation deserves the same emotional weight. Some challenges require action, while others simply require patience. Think of protection as a shield for your focus. It helps you remain aligned with your priorities rather than becoming distracted by every minor issue that appears. When someone prays for protection over their thoughts, they are essentially choosing what will and will not influence their mindset throughout the day. There is also a profound sense of courage that comes from beginning the day with declarations of favor and protection. Courage does not mean the absence of difficulty. It means moving forward with confidence despite uncertainty. Morning prayer cultivates that courage by reinforcing the belief that we are not navigating life alone. Picture yourself stepping into a busy day with the quiet assurance that you are supported and guided. That assurance changes the way you carry yourself. Your posture becomes more confident, your voice becomes steadier, and your presence becomes more composed. Others often notice this difference even if they cannot immediately explain it. Another powerful benefit of declaring favor and protection is the way it nurtures hope. Hope is the fuel that keeps motivation alive. Without hope, even simple tasks can feel overwhelming. Yet when someone begins the morning by speaking hopeful words, they are feeding their spirit with encouragement before the day's pressures arrive. Hope encourages creativity. It inspires perseverance. It reminds us that setbacks are temporary and that progress often happens gradually. Favor keeps the mind looking forward instead of backward, while protection ensures that discouragement does not easily take root. Morning prayer also creates a rhythm of reflection and awareness. Instead of rushing into the day without thought, it invites a moment of intentional presence. In that moment, you become aware of your goals, your responsibilities, and the values you want to carry into every interaction. This awareness is incredibly valuable because it keeps your actions aligned with your intentions. Rather than being swept along by circumstances, you remain conscious of the direction you want your day to take. Favor guides your opportunities, and protection guards your peace. The beauty of this practice is that it does not require extraordinary conditions. It simply requires a few intentional moments at the beginning of the day. Those moments may appear small, yet their influence can extend across every hour that follows. Imagine beginning each morning with a calm declaration that your steps will be guided, your mind will remain peaceful, and your work will be fruitful. Imagine carrying that sense of assurance into every meeting, every conversation, and every challenge. Over time, those declarations become more than words. They become a mindset that shapes how you experience life. Every day holds unknown possibilities. Some will bring joy and success, while others may bring challenges that require patience and resilience. Declaring favor and protection does not eliminate those realities, but it equips you to face them with strength and clarity. It reminds you that peace can coexist with responsibility and that confidence can exist even in moments of uncertainty. When the morning begins with those declarations, the entire day is approached differently. Opportunities are recognized more easily, relationships are handled more thoughtfully, and challenges are met with steady determination. The simple act of speaking favor and protection over your day becomes a powerful way of preparing your mind, heart, and spirit for everything that lies ahead.